Okay, all right, awesome. Vivian? Vivian, kindly unmute your mic.
My name is Vivian Malhomo Agbedo. I work at St. Anthony Hospital as a finance officer in the hotel area. Thank you.
Awesome. Good. Next person.
Good afternoon. My name is Boampong. I work with Comsys Ghana Limited. It's an internet service provider. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Philip Osei-Mensah.
Yes, my name is Philip Osei-Mensah. I work with Cargo Ghana Limited as a procurement assistant.
Nice to have you here. Michael Oforia Yerbi.
Yes, I'm with a law firm, Blaguji, at East Legon as a procurement officer, please.
Awesome, thank you. Is that all we have here? Has everybody introduced him or herself? Who is your course rep?
Akwesi Anas, sir. I'm the course rep, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. So what is the class size?
Currently, we are 10.
All right. Awesome. All right. So we are missing one person here, right?
Yeah. Currently, we are 9 precisely. Precisely
okay.
9. Yes, please.
Okay. That's fine.
So everybody's on board, sir.
Very well. All right. Sure. Great. So let's establish some few ground rules. What our expectations of the course? My expectation of the course is, and how it's going to pan out. Now, understanding this a distance learning course, and so basically it would be run online with occasional face-to-face encounters at the end of the month, if that is true. And so we'll be doing this aspect, this format. Now, I want to introduce you to my teaching philosophy, in that it aligns very well with what the arrangement for this distance course is. I don't know about how the other lecturers engage you, but for me, the strategy I adapt is not to spoon feed students and become the one who gives you the knowledge, but to engage the students so that we co-create the knowledge together. In what am I saying? In that my approach would be to front load you with my lecture material in advance. If possible, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the LMS, and so I'll be engaging you with activities, group work, case study presentations on the LMS, and then on Zoom, and then on the online teaching process, I would have to put you in groups. Given that you are just 9 or 10 of you, course rep, I'm pretty sure you have existing groups already, and so we'll have 2 groups. What would happen is that today being the first day, today would be very brief and perfunctory. You would just touch on the course outline. I'll give you a brief synopsis of what the week 1 lecture is, and we can call it a day. But in our subsequent lecture on Monday, I would send the reading materials in advance so that you would read and prepare and come over to come and do presentation in class. So basically, I stand back and I facilitate as the students engage in the material. And if there are any questions and clarifications that are needed, we would clarify them, we would discuss them. The lecturer is not the only repository of knowledge around as it used to be in the past. Now you have access to digital resources, you have access to online resources that you can fall on to augment whatever you would learn in class, because the boundaries of knowledge are infinite and limitless. And so you will be coming to do your presentations in class based on the material that I give you. Now, the material that I give you would have applicable case studies. And so when you are done with the presentation in class, we would have relevant case studies that have direct bearing on the notes that was given. And so you can apply those concepts that you would have read or presented directly to the case study, so that we would have a full grasp of what the material is about. Now, in terms of my approach to assessment, it's my understanding that your assessment is what? Is it 70-30 or 60-40? Ezekiel?
So it varies from the lecturer, because some are saying 60-40, some are saying 70-30.
Okay, so all right, I'm looking at what the okay. So in our case, we'll do a 60-40. Now, in most of my teaching around here and elsewhere and so on, I always say that I don't fail my students. And why don't I fail my students? It's not because I don't, but it's because the students themselves put in a lot of effort. The students themselves participate in the course and make it more interactive and engaging. And so on that score, at the end of the program or at the end of the course, if you have participated in the presentations, weekly presentations, and the class discussions that we would have done, it will be pretty difficult for you to fail the class, because if the assessment test at 40, the likelihood that the students in the assessment can get a 30-35 is high. And going into the exams, if you are going to look for just 5, you should be able to pass, because 40 is the pass mark. Unfortunately, I must say that given that this is the format, in some instances, some students try very hard to fail, and it breaks my heart. I'm hoping that with this introductory caution, I'm believing that I'm having a working class cohort, and so this format should work very well for you, so that you are not constrained to come and sit in class and do mid-semesters, so that I give you exams and then put you under strict exams conditions, under 2-3 hours you write, and then it becomes difficult for you to get some good scores to be assessed at the end of your assessment period. You get a 10-15 and you go into the exam to struggling to get 30, it becomes difficult. But by and large, if we put in our effort this way, you get the notes in advance, you can engage in your group discussions, because that will be group-based activities. So the presentations will be based on the group, become a presenter, lead the class within the 2-hour sessions, whilst I sit and facilitate and provide the scaffolding arrangements for you to understand. And when there are questions, we can all brainstorm together and arrive at the right answers. So having said that, I think that we should all home and dry. We just need to put our hands to the wheel and then make a success out of it. On this note, I would like to ask if there are any questions you want clarified before we go into the substantive discussion of today's topic. as has been advertised in advance. Any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir. At my side.
At your side. Okay. Vivian, any questions? All right. So Vivian is fine. No questions. Right. So basically, like I said, today, it's just an icebreaker. We tend to look at Wk1's course, which will be the introduction to artificial intelligence, analytics, and solving problems with data. And it would involve a bit of presentation from my side. And when we are done, we can look at or watch an 8-minute video of the notes that have been prepared that puts it into context so that we can engage both our sensory and functions to the notes that are being presented. Is that okay? Right. So once again, good afternoon, everyone. And let me start with a simple, but before then, I don't know, do you have your course outline?
Yes, please.
So you have the course outline. All right. So the course outline, I believe what you have is the one in the table that has just some 4 columns and the rows, right? And then the literature.
Yes, please.
Right. I would update this with a full-blown course outline that reduces it to Wk1, Wk2, and the various topics that will be looked at. So, for example, in today, we will be looking at, like I said, introduction of AI, analytics, and business value. We would want to understand why AI matters for businesses and governments in the terms of how it informs decision-making, how it improves efficiency, and how it introduces innovation. We will look at key terms such as data. What is data? What is information? What is analytics? What is AI? What is machine learning? And then predictive models, okay? We'll look at the types of analytics where we'll be looking at this descriptive, diagnostic, predictive analytics, okay? In week 2, we'll be looking at data fundamentals for predictive modeling. We'll look at the type of data. We'll have structured data and unstructured data. We'll look at the data sets, their features and their various labels. Week 3, we'll be looking at business problem framing and model thinking, where we want to turn business questions into modeling tasks, where we'll look at the classification and the regression models that inform some of these model thinking predictive models. We'll look at what KPIs are and their evaluation criteria. In week 4, we'll be looking at regression models for business prediction. We will look at predicting continuous outcomes such as sales, cost, demand, revenue. Okay. The purpose of this particular course is to equip you with the know-how to apply technology, in this case AI, on your business. And I'm glad to note that you guys come from a diverse background in finance. I noted here finance, some are in IT, some are in procurement. And so you would apply some of these concepts in your area and how you can use those systems to inform business decisions. Okay, we'll look at classification models for business decision. We'll look at time series and demand forecasting for planning. We'll look look at trends, seasonality, cycles, and events. Week 7, 8, 9, thereabout, we look at model improvement, we look at the engineering part of it. It wouldn't be too technical. We'll look at the features and the engineering ideas for business data, how it fits and how it affects business. We'll look at also advanced predictive techniques and responsible use of AI. We'll look at applied AI tools. And the most important of this, or the key takeaway, is to look at the Microsoft Azure for analytics, and also a bit of ChatGPT applications on how to prompt and how to use the AI to prompt for business decision making, and so on and so forth. So I would send the I'll send the updated course outline to you. Course rep, maybe what you should do is you should create a group platform. I'm pretty sure you guys have your platforms. Create a group platform and make me admin so that I can send these materials to you in real time. And whilst we are done with class, the class does not end because it's distance and it's mediated by distance. We will continuously engage on the platform where you have questions or you need clarifications. You can get real-time clarification from me when you put your questions there. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. So without much ado, I would first want us to take a moment, and reflect. Now, from the moment you woke up today, what is one system or app you have used that has helped you to do something faster? There are 9 of you. I would want to quickly ask you to name at least one, system or app that you have used in your day activity that has helped you to do something faster. Let's do this under under 10 seconds. Ezekiel, you can start. Yeah, so for me, if you want me to start, for me today, I have used an alarm clock, right? And what has it helped me to do? It has helped me to plan my life. It's helped me notices that I need to wake up. I need to do something. It prompts me to do something. So on. So an alarm is a system that helps my life to be well organized. And there are other systems that I've used. I've used the WhatsApp. I've used Facebook. I've used the internet. I've used several things, but at least this is one. So let me hear from you what systems you have used today that has helped you to do something, getting you to do something more faster. All right. So quickly.
Okay. Hello. Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I can say I've used the internet to join a couple of classes since morning, and I haven't had to go all the way to Abeka to sit there to learn.
Great. All right. That's good. Yes.
Okay, I will also say I have used WhatsApp today. I needed to make a few inquiries on some things, and it helped me get clarification on what I needed to know about it.
All right. Good. So she has used WhatsApp to facilitate some of the things that she does. Right. So Sarafina. Okay. Was that Sarafina?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Who next?
Yeah.
Vivian, please, I've used a communication system which helps me, or mobile phone, which helps me to check on my mom to see how she's doing without going there myself.
Right. Great. She's used the mobile phone to communicate with her mom, to check on her. It's reduced traveling time for her all the risks associated with the traveling and so on and so forth has been dealt with by just the technology that is available for her in hands to communicate with a man to check on her. Great, Vivian. Right, next.
I've also used a boat app to make a delivery from Ashaiman to Circle, just in the comfort of my home.
So I'm pretty sure you have some, assuming that you wanted to get some good food in Ashaiman or whatever delivery it was, you know, it would have required you to move from A all the way to the motorway to Ashaiman to get this. But because of technology and its radiation effect, it has been reduced and you are comfortably now in your home, well relaxed because of the utility of technology. Right. Okay. Any other?
I've also used the Gmail app to send a message, and I've also received my response immediately after I send the message, and it has also been of good help to me.
Very well, great. Michael? So
Yes.
Michael has used the Gmail to communicate. Hitherto, you would have gone to Accra Post Office, isn't it? To go and post that letter, and it will take probably some days or weeks to reach your recipient. If you are fortunate, that is. In some instances, it could get missing in transition and so on and so forth. But with the simple stroke of the utility of the internet, we are able to send emails and receive feedback in real time, right? That is what technology does. Great. Anyone else who wants to add something to this? Right.
So, my name is Major.
Yeah, Major.
Yeah, so I've also been able to use the Zoom platform to access this learning platform.
Good. So Major has used the Zoom platform to access learning. Either he would have had to come here and face the brick and mortar arrangement where the teacher would have to stand in front of the blackboard and then write and then teach for him to understand. He's in the comfort of his house. We all saw him, he was relaxed, seated, and enjoying the class. That is what technology is capable of doing. Right. So, thank you all for that contribution. I saw both apps, Gmail, Zoom, control systems, WhatsApp, internet, mobile apps, and so on and so forth. Now, here is the point, right? What you guys have described, you have just described real life examples of systems and data working behind the scenes to make decisions and deliver services. Some of these systems are very simple, right? Yeah, and then some too are very advanced. So today, we are going to link that everyday experience to what this course is about, right? Artificial intelligence for business. Now, before anybody gets intimidated by the term artificial intelligence, let's demystify certain things. Let me make it clear. In this course, we are not doing AI as robot movies of some sort, right? It shouldn't be too complicated. We are not into the technical aspect of it. We are looking at how we can synthesize that knowledge and apply to our business. We are doing AI as a practical tool for solving business problems, right? Things like predicting demand, because mind you, the purpose is for the business, and so predicting demand, maybe reducing fraud in any business that you find yourself in, improving customer experience, all right, making better decisions, using using data. So without much ado, I would share my screen. Right. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So, right. Well, like I said, my name is Ahmed, and we are level 300 students, and welcome to the class once again. Right. So, in terms of the key takeaways of what we want to achieve from today's lecture, we want to understand AI, what artificial intelligence is, and its relation to analytics. Okay. We want to distinguish analytics. So we have to look at the different types of analytics and their applications. We'll recognize problems. We have to look at the kinds of problems that predictive models can address. And then we'll appreciate the value of AI in improving real life decisions measurably. So let's build on this foundation carefully, right? When people say data, what exactly do they mean? The very foundation of this course is to grasp the nexus between data, information, insight, and then decision making, right? So when people say data, what do they actually mean? Can someone help? So data are basically raw facts, right? Just raw facts. For example, you can look at numbers. So you are in an institution or you are in a business and you have numbers that are thrown at you, or you have numbers that have come into your business and you just have them sitting in silos as numbers. So what kind of numbers? Maybe you are looking at customer numbers, you are looking at maybe supply, your supplier numbers, the quantity that they have supplied. It comes to you, you just receive them, and then that is just data. They are raw set of facts, numbers, dates that maybe your suppliers have been supplying you consistently, or days in which your customers have been coming in to do a lot of purchase from you. You have them in there as raw data, but has not been processed into anything meaningful. So you have locations, you have sensor readings of certain key points that you have taken, and they just sit in there. So if you send money on mobile money, that transactions, that's what it only generates data, right? If a shop sells tons of milk, that actually generates only data. If, for example, a delivery driver or a delivery rider takes 2 hours instead of 1 hour to do a delivery, that time is just data. On their own, these set of facts don't solve anything at all. They are just what? They are just data, right? They are just data. Now, what then is information? So we say that what information is what you get when you organize these facts so that they make sense. You can derive meaning out of them. So instead of, for example, seeing random transaction records every day, you can say maybe sales increased this weekend. Instead of saying random delivery times, you can say maybe deliveries are slower on Mondays that is what? Information, right? Because it comes with certain process data that makes meaning to you, the business owner. It gives you information to be able to process, to take decisions, right? And so that is information. Then comes insight. You know, and so insight then would be what? Insight would then be when information leads to a decision, right? So that is the insight you derive from the combination of data and information to draw the insights out of it, which is interpreted as information that would guide the actions of the decision maker. So you have a data set of number of robberies that have attempted robberies or stealing in your business, pilfering, that is causing reduced stock levels that has always been sitting on your books because you have not used that raw facts to process it into meaningful information. Now, when you process that to make meaning out of that particular data that you are talking about in terms of the attrition rates or in terms of the stock reduction rate or the stealing that is going on, the insights that you draw from it is the interpretation of the combination of the data and information that should guide your action. And so the action that you derive or the decision that you take out of it is the insight that is drawn out of it. Okay. So if we say the question then would be, how do we turn this data into insight reliably, right? That is where analytics comes into play. Analytics, therefore, has 4 levels. But before then, what then is analytics? Analytics, we say, is what? It's a structured way of using data to answer questions. All right? That is what analytics is. So it is a systematic process of using data to answer questions for decision making, building from simple reporting to strategic recommendations. Take very key note of this, right? That it's a systematic process whereby data is used to answer key questions that informs decision making, right? Building from just simple reporting to strategic recommendations to help improve business processes. Okay, so there are levels to analytics, and there are 4 of such levels. So the first level, as you can see from the figure that has been shared here, there is the descriptive analytics, which basically answers very basic questions, you know, as in like what happened, all right? Like what were sales last month? So if you are in a business and you are the first level of your analytical level, you will basically be looking at very descriptive and diagnostic appeals to your analytical framework in how you appreciate your information or the insight that you derive from your business. So we have the descriptive analytics, which basically answers, like I said, what happened, like what were sales last month, how many customers turned up, how many deliveries were late, and so on and so forth, right? Then there is the diagnostic analytics. Okay, there's the diagnostic analytics, which answers why did it happen? You know, it has to be diagnosed. And when you want to diagnose something, like we all go to hospital and we present our case and say we have a headache by describing what our situation is to the doctor, the responsibility of the doctor is to take the descriptive nature of your sickness and diagnose and make a prescription. And in that diagnosis, the doctor is looking at why did this happen? Your business, why did sales drop in say 3 weeks? Why are customers leaving? And why did say maybe delivery time increase? Okay. So that is basically the 4 levels of analytics that we have. So then we move to predictive analytics. And as the name connotes, right, predictive analytics would answer questions like what is likely to happen, all right? Because you would want to analyze scenarios based on certain inputs that you would feed into your system to do that analysis. What is likely to happen next? So the doctor example that I gave, the doctor is likely to predict that maybe having looked at your descriptive situation that you gave and he having applied the diagnostics, is able to look and say maybe in terms of the predictive analysis of your situation, he can make or hazard a very good guess of what would happen next if you say do not treat your malaria, if you do not treat your typhoid. The consequences that will come on it is not just, it wouldn't be prophetic, but it will be based on information that he, the doctor, or information that you, the businessman, who has noticed, or the business owner, who has noticed that your stock levels are going down, who has noticed that if you are in the supply chain and logistics environment and you have made some orders for some shipments and they are delaying, you are able to predict in advance and say, if this thing does not come here in X number of days or it doesn't come in 3 months, you can reliably predict what will likely happen if it doesn't come. So this is where we start forecasting. This is in the predictive analytics stage. This is where we start estimating probabilities. This is where we start predicting demand, all right, based on data that we have. Predicting late deliveries, predicting fraud rates, okay? And then we have at the prescriptive analytics, we have the final level, which is what should we do about it, okay? That is the prescriptive analytics. What should then be done to address all these things that have been predicted? What should be done about it? It is the stage where the system recommends what? Actions, like how much to order. In the case of the doctor scenario, it is the case where, the doctor makes a bold prediction and say, hey, Ezekiel, your business, the doctor's case, maybe your sickness, after having diagnosed and after having predicted or analyzed this, your prescription, should be, maybe you need to take 3 courses of malaria treatment to treat your malaria. And the same vein in your business, if you were to apply it, you can make bold predictions onto how to solve your supply chain problems, a bold prescription on how to address your inventory levels dropping to 0 that will affect your entire business process, and so on and so forth. So in the predictive stage, it is the stage where the system, all right, the system recommends action and so on. So now, pause here by, because I want you to see something very important. Most organizations think that they are doing predictive analytics, right? But if you take a step back from what I have just described in terms of these 3 layers, of the analytical framework, all right, we can clearly see that, look, most businesses or organizations are stuck at the descriptive level because we can actually describe what our situation is. In fact, if you even want to elevate it to the broader Ghanaian context, right? Yesterday, the president gave the State of the Nation's address, okay? Clearly describe what our problems are. We are very good at it. We can describe all our problems as it is. But